Buenos dias and bonjour. You might be listening to your radio right now. A little confused. Man, I thought I had the station on KFAN, not KMOJ. Who is this urban-sounding young brother talking in my microphone right now? He sounds a little bit more sexy than PA, a little bit more suave, but where's the voice of the Vikings? Fret not. PA is safe and sound. He's somewhere in the vast and ever-expanding universe, and I'm sure wherever he is, he's inflicting some type of tickle terrorism on an unsuspecting person or asking them if they are a puppy or a baby. So while PA is away, your boy has come out to play for the next couple of days. Max Fuller here, a.k.a. Frohei Ohtani, a.k.a. Shohei Frotani, a.k.a. Paul Max Cartney, a.k.a. a million other things, alongside my friend, the Cornfield Casanova himself, the Hawkeye State hottie, the Hufflepuff hunk, Brett Blakemore.
What up, Max?
What's good, Brett? And Brett, what better way to start the show than howling with my homie, my dog, Minnesota basketball legend, Parker Fox. Hootie.
Oh, this feels right. This just feels right.
It's been too long, my dog. Even though it was just last week, it's been too long since we've been over the airwaves proper. And Parker, let me ask you something to start the show.
What's that now?
I did some research into this. I browsed books.
Way to go. Perused
some paragraphs.
You're scholarly. I've always said that.
Very scholarly, academic even. I even got the glasses to prove it right now. I deep dove into the depths, but I got to ask you to double check. This is America, right?
Yeah. Thanks, Randy Marsh.
Thanks, Childish Gambino.
I think so.
One of the many reasons we started this whole red, white, and blue thing is because we don't like kings, right? I mean, we've had our fair share of kings here, like the King of Pop, King of Rock and Roll, Elvis. Oh, thank you very much. But in general, kings just ain't our thing here in the U.S. of A. So it's kind of funny as we approach America's 250th birthday that all anybody in Minnesota can think about is a king. Not just a king, the king. Of course, I'm talking about King James, LeBron James.
LeBron Lames.
LeBron Lames, who informed the Lakers yesterday that they can move on without him. It's not them, it's him. And according to reports, he's told his team to take their time listening to any team that wants him. And our guy, Johnny, he says the Timberwolves are interested. And even just a year ago, Parker, if I asked the question, do you think the Wolves could get LeBron James over these airwaves? You would think I bought some stuff from one of the guys on the street corner outside my apartment.
Yeah, for sure.
Abbott might have walked down to the studio and had me drug tested live on air.
Yeah, you're not host of the show.
Yeah, no. Please don't do that, by the way, Abbott. I'm going to fail. But after the Rabbits, Tim Connolly has pulled out of his hat already this offseason. Pretty much every offseason since he's been here. It doesn't seem so far-fetched anymore. And when you think about it from his standpoint, I mean, it makes more sense than most places, Parker. So this is a question I didn't think I'd ever get to ask with any sincerity. But do you think the Wolves have a chance?
Well, I will preface it by saying that how exciting it is that we get to even have this conversation.
I know, right? This is surreal.
And I also, as I said on the Power Trip Morning show this morning, I said that if LeBron wants to win a championship, he could maybe do so in Minnesota. Now, I know that might be a preposterous statement, some might say. But, Max, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at the teams that LeBron is interested in. Golden State, Miami, Cleveland. These aren't teams that are competing for championships. These aren't teams that have made playoff runs. These aren't teams that have been in the Western Conference Finals 2 of the last 3 years. I think that if LeBron James is serious about finishing off his career as a champion and wants to win, it could be in Minnesota.
Dude, I mean, like you said, it's a testament to just how far the Wolves have come that we're even entertaining this conversation right now. And I mean, if you think about it, there's a tailor-made spot for him at the 4, maybe even the 3, and have Jaden play the 4. Yeah. You got guys to take pressure off of him defensively. Jaden, Rudy, even Anthony Edwards. Got guys to take pressure off of him offensively. LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Io even. And then you have a roster that's as good as any and ready to compete for a championship this year. I mean, listen, he's already familiar with Minnesota. The Mayo Clinic works very closely with Bronny. Yep. I'm just saying, man, if I was LeBron James, It might be the Minnesota Timberwolves, because you don't want to go to that old folks home out there in the Bay, San Francisco way. Cleveland just got swept.
Yeah.
By the Knicks in the playoffs. I mean, they didn't even have a chance.
James Harden's out of there.
James Harden's, he's not going to be there.
Yep.
Spider, he might not be him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. It kind of seems like LeBron James should come to Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know, Max. I think it's there's a PR stunt in a way of saying LeBron James wants to win championships. Is that really what he's about right now in his career? I don't know. But if it is, you're talking about teaming up with arguably the best backcourt in the NBA, one of the rising, now he's here, stars in Anthony Edwards, and one of the best point guards in the league. Like LeBron James added to this roster on whatever kind of $6 million veteran discount deal. I don't know, man. I think that could be a championship team. I really do.
I do too, man. And if you're him, some people like to accuse LeBron James of wanting all the attention. He would say
LeBron.
not LeBron, attention, not the guy that hosted a primetime television show to make a decision about his free agency. That can't possibly be him. But say hypothetically he does like attention. What better place to go than the Minnesota Timberwolves?
That's right.
And then the last chapter, the last 30, 40 minutes of the future LeBron James documentary, The Last Dance, LeBron James version, The Last Dance 2.
Minnesota.
He comes to Minnesota
and wins championship.
Wins the Timberwolves their first championship. He gets a statue built outside of his fourth arena probably.
That's right.
And he gets to forever attach his legacy to kind of be like, look, I'm the mentor to Anthony Edwards, who we all believe is going to be an all-time great. I mean, the story is all there.
Yeah.
And then you can start all the way back at the Olympics. I mean, this is a movie in the making, Parker. I mean, okay, just hear me out for a second.
Yep.
Say Tim Connolly calls you up. Yeah. He's like, Parker, let's go on a walk on the Stone Arch Bridge.
Speed walk.
Yeah. Speed walk. Me, you, and Finchie.
Tim?
And he goes, listen, free agents often get wined and dined.
Oh, no.
LeBron, I mean, he's probably beyond that at this point, but say he wants to be wined and dined, and that's why he's doing this whole free agency bit. I would, no matter how rich I am. You better take me in that helicopter, dog. You better take me out to Manny's for some steak or something.
Maybe avoid the helicopter. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's keep it on the ground.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sprinter.
I should keep my feet on the ground anyways. I can barely even ride a bike at this point. So maybe I should be 10 toes down here. Where are you going to take LeBron James here in the land of 10,000 lakes to show him what it's all about?
It would be the connections that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Well, we played golf. We would definitely go play golf.
Hell yeah. LeBron's into golf these days.
I'm sure Michael Jordan's a member out at Spring Hill. I'm sure those two would go play out at Spring Hill.
Okay.
And then I'm sure he would want a bottle of wine that we don't know how to pronounce, nor do we know what is, even going on with that bottle of wine. I remember he posted a story during that 2016 anniversary with the Cavs, and I asked somebody how much these bottles of wine were, and they were like, they might be about $15,000 a piece. Can you imagine drinking $15,000 wine? I don't know if we have.
If someone even gave me a glass of that, I would ask if I could sell that glass.
Can I put this on Marketplace?
Right. Like, how much does 8 fluid ounces give me?
And then you got to get him some wine. You got to get him a nice steak. And then I think you just got to put him with Anthony Edwards and let Ant do the rest. I think that's the main selling point here, Max, is Anthony Edwards. Here's this young superstar who's arguably a top 5 player now in the NBA. And you have a chance to not only mentor him, but bring him to a spot to win championships. And I think if that's really what it's about, I think Minnesota's a good destination for him. Like I know it's insane to say that,
right?
But it makes sense to me because I don't think there's any team set up to compete with OKC and the Thunder and the Spurs the way that Minnesota is. Like they're the closest option. I know New York beat, the Spurs and that's in the East, but here in the West, I think there's 3 teams that I think are going to be competing for championships over the next 3 years. And that's Minnesota, OKC, and San Antonio.
And just from a basketball standpoint, too, like the way that the Timberwolves offseason has gone with getting rid of Julius and getting rid of Nas, like that number 4 spot is wide open. Now, some people, like John Bonus, don't think he's an ideal fit for the Timberwolves. But I'm saying there's a giant hole in the lineup. That number 4 spot, he'd fit perfectly right next to Rudy.
And we're looking at some of these forwards across the league, and we just saw John Collins sign a 3-year, $50+ million. Like, we don't have the money for that, right? Tobias Harris was making nearly $30 million last year, so it's not like we're in the market.
Just re-signed as well.
Yeah, we're not in the market for some big money guy. Ideally, you go and get a guy like him, right? And you pay him whatever you pay him, and he comes and wins championships. Like, that's the kind of guy that the Timberwolves are looking for right now. So I'm glad their name is at least in the mix.
It's so exciting, man. It's just so surreal. Again, who would have thought a year ago that we'd be mentioning LeBron James? LeBron James. I mean, we're already, arguably the hottest ticket in all of pro sports, Parker Fox. You said so yourself.
I said what I said.
You got nominated for the Preposterous Statement tournament. Also, somebody else texted in and said that you might have 2 entries because you asked, what came first, the cassette tape or CDs / DVDs?
That's not my fault. I don't know any different.
You're a youngster.
At least 20 years difference, I think.
Shoot.
Yeah. It's okay. I mean, you're a winner, Parker. You got to, even if you're in the Preposterous Statement tournament, you're a winner.
You need to win.
Speaking of your playing career, Parker, were you ever wined and dined by any teams besides the good old University of Minnesota? How does that recruiting?
Did Minnesota wine and dine?
Yeah.
Well, I was getting recruited during COVID, so there wasn't any visits. There was only Zoom calls where they would tell you how much. And this is before NIL, so they would tell you how much per diem you're going to get for your stipend or away games. And now the money with these kids is we're going to pay you $10 million. And,
right.
You know what I mean? So it's a completely different ball game now. So no, I won't say I was ever truly wined and dined. Recruiting during COVID was terrible, but at the end of the day, I knew I was always coming back home to Minnesota. So whatever anybody else said was.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. You're a hometown guy.
That's right.
You didn't need to get wined and dined. You're not a fancy guy like that.
No, I'm here to be at home.
Blue collar guy.
Play some ball.
What about Bronny? Does he just get abandoned? Do you think he just came home the other day like the Fresh Prince in that one episode?
I wonder what's going on in Bronny's head.
Is it a BOGO, as one of our listeners just asked on the text line? Is it a BOGO? Do we get Bronny with LeBron? I mean, I saw that his contract is guaranteed or whatever, but that doesn't really, in the NBA, what does that really mean?
Yeah, we'd have to make a trade technically for him.
Does he even have an existence in the NBA without
we're going to find out. Yeah, we're going to find out because you look at the Lakers roster right now and everybody's gone. It's literally Luka and Austin Reeves and DeAndre Ayton who signed an $8 million contract and literally no one else. And Bronny's one of the only other guys that signed to that contract. So what an awesome opportunity for him, right? To take the next step in his career without his dad around. I think that's probably going to be good for his development. And we'll see if he can get a contract after that.
Think about the media circus of LaMelo Ball.
Oh my God.
Anthony Edwards, LeBron, and Bronny.
I mean,
on one team.
It's incredible.
I would actually stay after a game to go to the video.
Right, exactly. We're going to be in the media scrum asking questions. And then LeVar Ball in the
I'm
mix
sure he'll be there
as well. I mean, as people that get paid to talk about this kind of stuff, you got to just rub your hands together like Birdman about that one.
That statement that you uttered would be closer to reality if that's the case on Sticking in Sports.
100%.
Yeah, that's the media circus that would follow that. Hopefully it wouldn't be a distraction, but we can talk about that later because the basketball side of things would be awesome.
It'd be awesome. We'd be the hottest ticket in town. Just like 9 to noon's the hottest ticket in town. And listen, whenever I'm filling in or hosting, the people, yes, you, the lovely listener, you're the real co-host here. We want to hear from you. Luckily for us, there's plenty of ways for you to make your voice heard. You can text us, 64686. You can give us a call, 800-320-5326. Email us at booth@kfan.com or even send us a little talk back on the free iHeartRadio app. Tap that microphone icon and give us your best 30 seconds. Listen, we won't judge you for lasting only 30 seconds, all right? The Timber Tech set list, even though PA's not here, it's still the Timber Tech set list. Listen, we got another segment with Parker Fox around the corner. We got John Bonus joining us a little bit later. Big-time capital J journalist and Minnesota native Aaron Rupar in the mix. And a little dose of Cara Levin's Julia Daniels later. Plus, who knows what else? I sure as hell don't. All I know is 9 to noon. We'll be back right after this.
Before we go, the Timber Tech set list is typically a partner on the PA project. Also, we'll do a Steve's Marathon segment as well, I'm sure, knowing us. But hey, This is pretty.
This is
clock
good.
management. We're doing good.
Now we're in the big time slide. Now the clock management has to be on point. If you've ever listened to Worst Case Scenario, all three of you out there, you know that my clock management skills are not great. But we're in the big time now, so the clock management it has to be on point.
I'm sure there will be a Steve's Appliances marathon segment in the hopper at some point, which is okay.
Absolutely.
So, all right, more Worst Case Scenario after this. Stay plugged into everything The Fan. Sports updates, ticket giveaways, show highlights. You can follow KFAN 1003 on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, YouTube, all of our social channels. Stay connected to the sports leader, The Fan. Also, this segment, typically Vikes Bites. It's presented by Kinmount Exteriors. Kinmount Exteriors.
The Fan also available on Tinder, Hinge.
Is that right?
BlackPeopleMeet.com. Yeah, all of the above.
Who's
Grindr,
The Fan
even.
Match with?
Yeah, everybody. Everybody. Right. Everybody loves The Fan. Everybody loves the homies, and the homies are howling.
18 to 54?
Yeah. Right. There is no. It's 18 to beyond.
Yeah.
Everybody loves The Fan. The homies are howling to kick off 9 to noon. Max Fuller here, filling in for PA alongside Brett Blakemore, Parker Fox. We've basically been writing LeBron James fan fiction to start the show. Yeah. But the reason we're all believing in the unbelievable is because Tim Connolly has been Gordon Ramsay-like with his cooking this offseason, Parker. He netted us a top 5 point guard in the league in LaMelo Ball. And yes, it came at a great cost in Nas Reed, our beloved fan favorite. As our guy Johnny K said, 6 in the rotation, number 1 in our hearts. That's why he gets paid the big bucks, because I love that phrase right there. But nonetheless, it's a blockbuster trade. Maybe the biggest in Wolves history. And speaking of Wolves history, this might be the best time to be a Wolves fan since the team was founded back in 1989. Now, we talked about it a little bit over Skype, Zoom, whatever the hell you call it these days. I just showed my age. I said Skype. Nobody's using Skype anymore. Crazy. Skype is like, I think it's dead. I don't even think it's alive anymore.
Yeah, they got a message on AIM.
Yeah. We talked about it over AIM. Yeah. We put LaMelo Ball in our top 8 on MySpace.
LaMelo is away.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Parker, before we get into the nitty-gritty of the actual basketball on the court, fit for LaMelo Ball, have you ever had any run-ins with the Ball family whatsoever?
I have not. I did get a call the other night that LaMelo was in town and he wanted to get let into like our gym at the U.
Really?
But I guess he wasn't even in town, and it was like
a prank call?
Not even like a prank call. There was some runs going on, some pro hoopers that are back from overseas or whatever that were getting runs in, and I guess, I don't know who. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But no, I have not run into LaMelo or any of the Ball family. I watched their show, the Ball and the Family show.
It was a great show.
Loved that show. I would watch it on like Facebook Watch or whatever back in the day.
Right. That's how much attention the Ball family, like their center of gravity, that we were on Facebook.
Yes.
Watching them.
Yeah, I would connect like via an HDMI cord in my dorm room from my computer to watch Ball and the Family on Facebook Watch, which is just all time. But no, I love everything. I mean, not everything they're about, but I think it's funny. I think it's humorous. But at the end of the day, like, LaMelo's a legitimate talent. And I think he's ready to take that next step in his career and be serious about winning championships.
And what we're better placed than the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, we've been asking the sky, asking crystal balls and shaking 8 balls for if we're going to get a point guard, and then we get maybe the best point guard in the truest definition of the word point guard in LaMelo Ball. Parker, again, we talked about this a little bit, but I'm curious to ask from a different angle. Who do you think, because there's some names that come to mind automatically when LaMelo joins his team. You think of him enhancing Rudy, him enhancing Jaden. But I think there's more than people think when it comes to how the floor and the ceiling that he can raise for different players on this team. Who do you think benefits the most from LaMelo Ball's inclusion in the starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think the obvious answer is, Anthony Edwards. We heard Chris Finch talk so often about, especially during the playoffs last year, about getting Ant off the ball, finding a point guard that can initiate offense. We saw so many of the double teams, especially from the San Antonio Spurs, to start offense. And there's only 24 seconds in the shot clock. And when Ant has the ball in his hands and he's passing it out of a double team with 16 seconds to go, there's not a lot of offense to be found and figured out throughout that shot clock. So I think you start with Anthony Edwards, but then a name that I think is going to have a really great time playing with LaMelo Ball is Jalen Clark. And he's a guy that was one of those free agents this year. And he was the first guy that the Minnesota Timberwolves wrapped up and got a deal signed. 3-year, $10 million. He's an excellent defender. He's improved his three-point shooting ability, but his best attribute on the offensive side of the ball is his cutting. He's a really intelligent cutter. And when eyes are focused on LaMelo Ball and when defenses are loaded up for a guy like LaMelo, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for cutting situations. And I think that's something that Jalen Clark's going to benefit a lot from.
And Jalen Clark, you got to imagine, is going to be a more prominent part of this rotation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we saw different spurts through injuries and whatnot last season, and he can get hot from that corner from three. He's one of the team's best defenders, which is saying something on a team full of really good defenders. I'm really excited about the possible ascension of Jalen Clark coming off the bench.
He shot it in the high 30s in the corners, and I think if you're able to keep producing at that number, you defend the way Jalen Clark defends. He was Pac-12 All Defensive Player of the Year. He picks up 94 feet. He takes on the assignment of guarding the other team's best defender. Like, that's a guy you keep on the floor because he's doing things that other guys are not doing, right? And I think also alongside LaMelo Ball, who's not a proven great defender. Now, he's 6'7", and he's long, and he's wiry, and he can move his feet, but he's not a proven defender. If you're able to put Jalen Clark out on the floor and have Jalen Clark guard the best, player the other team has, then LaMelo can go to some other off-ball guard, and Jalen Clark can take on that responsibility. Now, the Wolves have a lot of guards, right? Like we talked about how guard-heavy they are. We don't know what they're going to do at the power forward position, but I think we're going to probably see a lot of Terrence Shannon Jr. and a lot of Jaden McDaniels at that 4 position, which means there's going to be more spot at that 2 and that 3 for a guy like Jalen Clark, especially with Dante hurt as well.
Yeah, exactly, and who may not even come back by the end of next season. It just kind of depends on his recovery process. I mean, we saw Jason Tatum kind of make a miraculous recovery, but also kind of burn out a little bit in the Celtics
hope there,
run.
Max. From what I'm hearing from some people is obviously he's not hooping yet, but he's in the facility every day. He's working on all the little things to get back and moving very soon. And I think there's some optimism that after the All-Star break, or definitely before the playoffs, we'll see a version of Dante DiVincenzo.
Speaking of the starting power forward, Jake from Granite Falls texts in. First of all, he says that we're the closest thing to Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man on the radio, which is the highest of high compliments. I don't know which one of us is Hulk Hogan. I'm going to say I don't want to be. But
take it.
If he says, if not LeBron, who else is attainable at the 4? You kind of mentioned some of the names that are off the board now, but do you think anybody out there, is there any intriguing names for you for our starting power forward?
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of names. A lot of them actually just got signed either last night or this morning, so that list has gotten a lot smaller with John Collins and Dean Wade getting signed. But a guy that I like is Sandro Mamukelashvili from the Toronto Raptors.
Nice pronunciation, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I watched a lot of Toronto this year, watching my boy Jamison Battle play for them.
Hell yeah.
Sandro's probably going to go to LA. He's probably worth more money than we're able to pay him. And that position there in LA without Rui Hachimura anymore.
Right.
I think Rui could be a guy that we see. Exciting. Maybe a little too expensive for that role. It's really going to be a guy, Maxo, that's willing to take a discount of what we can pay him to win a possible championship. Right. So one of those guys is Tobias Harris. He's a guy that he's out of Detroit this year. He was almost a $30 million guy, so you would probably have to move the Josh Green bit to get that $15 million plus about the $6 to $8 million you're sitting on right now. But he's a seasoned veteran. He's been around the league long enough. He's made a lot of money in the NBA, and I think he would be a perfect piece to kind of the maturity of what you would want surrounding guys like Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. And then the last name, somebody that I think it's probably not going to happen. I mean, never say never. But I think, gosh, now I'm blanking on his name. I missed it, Maxo. That's on me.
Who do you play for? You remember? No, it's gone. It's okay.
It's gone.
It's gone. It's okay. But the Wolves' hopes are
PJ Washington.
PJ Washington. There we go. All right, that could be exciting.
He'd be a trade piece, and I've heard some stuff about moving Josh Green back to Dallas, where he's been comfortable before. There's a lot of forwards in Dallas with Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively coming back healthy this year. PJ Washington would be a piece who's played with LaMelo Ball before. It'd be a good duo.
It'd be really exciting. I like Tobias Harris. Can bring some toughness.
Tobias.
Yeah, that would be
sweet. If I had to pick one person out of everybody right now, my 2 were Tobias Harris and John Collins. John Collins is gone now.
Right.
Give me Tobias Harris.
Give me Tobias Harris, that veteran presence. Bring some toughness to the starting lineup.
That's right.
I'm intrigued by Tobias Harris. Parker, I know you got to get out of here. You're a busy guy. You're out here making deals, kissing babies, shaking hands and whatnot. But you mentioned Then you got to go to the ESPYs. You're heading to the ESPYs pretty soon, Parker.
Yeah, well, I'm a +1 at the ESPYs.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor's the real show,
that's
obviously.
Exactly right. Yeah, but we're fired up. We go to New York in a couple weeks here, and I'm excited to see who's going to be there. We went a couple years ago, and I got to see Lil Wayne.
Oh, that's awesome.
Miles Garrett.
Who are you hoping to run into this time?
Ooh, that's a great question. Hopefully LeBron's out there.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully LeBron's out there. He hasn't
do some
signed
convincing.
Yet, and we can try to convince LeBron James.
Real quick, because you mentioned Toronto, there's been a lot of big moves. It's not just LaMelo Ball. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard back to the Raptors. Ja Morant is in Portland now. Giannis in Miami, and then Jaylen Brown is on the market as well. But out of the deals that have been made so far, Ja in Portland, Giannis in Miami, Kawhi back to the Raptors. Which one do you like the best?
I love Kawhi back to the Raptors. I think they gave up a lot of picks to do that, but he basically had two places he wanted to go. He wanted to go to San Antonio, where he's had a great career, or go back to Toronto, and he's going to retire in Toronto now, I would assume. But Kawhi he's an older guy, but he's at the best year of his career last year, and I think this Toronto team was the team that won a playoff series last year. They ran into a Cleveland team that got really hot, and they got blown out in that series. But now you add Kawhi Leonard alongside Scotty Barnes and R.J. Barrett and Jakob Poeltl and Emmanuel Quickley. Like, that's a really good team up there in Toronto. And you mentioned Jaylen Brown. My bold take before I leave, I think Jaylen Brown's going to play for the Denver Nuggets next year.
Really?
That's my bold
Interesting.
take. Yeah, that's my bold take to end this off with.
There's some steam. They said that Nikola Jokic might want Jaylen Brown.
You got to make superstars happy, man.
Right. Otherwise, maybe he's on the market, and we're talking about Nikola Jokic, the Timberwolves next offseason. But that's in the indeterminable future. Parker Fox, you got to go make some deals, make some money.
Peace and love.
This is rough, but you're a diamond in the rough. Shout out to Continental Diamond. Parker Fox joins us to start off the show. Exit Parker Fox, enter John Bonus and Aaron Rupar. We're talking to him next. More 9 to noon in just a sec.
We are just as surprised as you are.
Summer mystery prize packs from Mall of America have returned. We're giving them away all summer long. You can stop by KFAN events, find the KFAN street team out and about, and get yours. Redeem at Mall of America for exciting prizes and great deals. You can see our full event schedule at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar, KFAN.com, keyword calendar. Boy, if only there was an event going on later tonight that you could get these summer prizes, Max.
If only there was an event hosted by a handsome young brother at Carboni's in Lakeville for the World Cup. Oh, man. Oh, there is, Brett Blakemore. We're having a World Cup watch party tonight, 7 p.m. Do you call it a kickoff in soccer? Is it a kickoff?
Yes. Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm just asking. I'm still new to this, okay? You're going to give us the lowdown on the World Cup later. I'm still new to this thing. I'm not true to this like you.
I played soccer, and I didn't know that was called a kickoff.
Right, yeah. I didn't know if they referred to it as that. I mean, you guys got rules. It's not a field. It's a pitch. It's a match. It's not a game. I mean, you guys got it's a very strenuous. It's a strenuous thing here.
As long as you're energetic and get on the microphone and take your shirt off, that's all they do.
Absolutely. Hey, come on now. That's what I'm paid to do. It's not to talk. Welcome back to 9 to noon. Max Fuller here, filling in for PA. My DJ Brett Blakemore on the ones and twos over there. John Bonus in tow as well. What's good, Bonus?
That is why I'm not tabbed for hosting any soccer parties, because I won't get on the mic and take my shirt off.
Well, the people want to see it, John Bonus. You're just a tease. That's why you don't want to give it to us. We're going to take a brief break from sports, and when I say the phrase take a break, that might sound like a foreign language to our next guest, because he doesn't know a damn thing about that. All day, every day, this man keeps up with everything to do with the red, white, and blue. If a politician says anything, best believe he'll have it clipped and put into context in 0.3 seconds flat. If I had 6 eyes and 3 heads, I still wouldn't be able to do what he does. He's maybe the most informed person in the country, and he's one of us. Doing it live from the land of 10,000 lakes, the nearly omnipresent and omniscient Aaron Rupar. Aaron, what's good, my man? How you doing?
Hey, Max. Thanks for having me on. And, John, great to hear you back there, too. I heard that chuckle and knew right away that John was joining you. So pleasure to be with you guys. And, again, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for taking some time out of your super-duper busy schedule. And we'll get to that in a second, Aaron. I want to dive into all things you and talk about your life, your job, all your greatest fears and aspirations. But I got to ask, in light of yesterday's news, I'm sure you saw it because you're a huge sports group. Somehow you find time to watch sports in the middle of your hectic schedule. And you saw the Diana Rossini story. Did you? Am I correct? Yes. Okay. So I'm curious, and for those of you that don't know, basically, she got stopped. This is not the other story. This is a different story. She got stopped for speeding in New Jersey. She asked the guy basically who's his favorite team. He said, unfortunately, the Minnesota Vikings. That's how you know he's true to this, not new to this, adding the unfortunately preface. Which we love our Minnesota Vikings, but that's just our lot in life.
Who has not said that?
In Minnesota
Which Vikings fan has not said that?
Exactly.
Exactly right.
And then she's like, oh, okay, cool. I was just texting KOC. And she shows a guy KOC, and it kind of seems like the guy's like, oh, that's pretty awesome. All right, go along about your way. So I'm curious, Aaron, if you got pulled over, and you're an ethical journalist, you would never do this, but hypothetically, who is the famous person in your contacts?
Oh, yeah.
That you'd call to try and get out of a ticket? Who is the most famous person that you got access to that you'd call to try to get out of a ticket?
Well, I would definitely say if I got pulled over in Minnesota, I could play the Amy Klobuchar card.
There you go.
Probably going to be the governor. That would presumably carry a little bit of weight around here. But, Henry Lake, I guess, from CCL. Yeah. I don't know how much he can help me, but he'd be another.
I was going to say Aaron Gleeman.
I interact more with people, usually on social media, whether it be, DMing or emailing. So, on my phone, I don't think it'd be that impressive, but I do have Amy on there. So, again, I think in Minnesota that would help me out a little bit.
Yeah, I think that would go a long way. By the way, can you send me that number just in case I get pulled? I'm not going to. First of all, I'm not reaching in my pockets if I get pulled over. But that's neither here nor there. Aaron, you're a big time capital J political journalist. What inspired you to kind of get into the world of political journalism? Because I would say if you asked the average person these days, that would rank pretty low in terms of what people are aspiring to do these days, given the nature of that job. What inspired you to get into this line of work?
I really kind of stumbled into it, and, especially for people locally, they probably remember the City Pages, RIP, but, I got a job there about 13 years ago now in 2011, so I guess 14 years ago. And, I sort of stumbled into the beat of covering local politics for the blog there, which at that time, I was writing a lot about like Michelle Bachmann, was a big recurring character. And I remember I hopped right in when I started there to the whole debate around the Viking Stadium and whether or not they were going to get subsidies from Minneapolis City Council and from the state. And, from there, I had some knack for it, I guess. And, I went from there to D.C., where I eventually landed at Vox and worked there for 3 years and then went independent. So it wasn't anything that I really sought out to do. But, as a kid, I definitely had an interest in news media and in politics, and just kind of following it as an observer. So, it felt like a good fit. But, if you would have asked me when I was like 12, 13 years old what I wanted to do, I would have said probably, something sports related. Political journalism wouldn't have been high on the list. But, there are definitely worse ways to make a living. And, you mentioned that doesn't seem like a very enviable job at this point. But that wasn't always the case. 15 years ago, it seemed kind of prestigious and cool and fun and exciting. And it has a different kind of, there's a different kind of sheen to it now, given everything the country has been through over the past decade plus. But, I get up every day, and it is kind of a grind and it's a lot of work, but I feel grateful to be able to do what I do for a living. Yeah, and you're underselling it a little bit, Aaron. Kind of a grind. I mean, I've read just a little bit of what your schedule is like. Could you break it down for the people? Which, by the way, you're on KFAN either way. You said you wanted to get into sports. You're on KFAN either way. So that's just like, it's funny how life works that way. But break down what your day-to-day looks like for the listeners out there, because you're underselling it here. It's kind of insane. Yeah, it's kind of gotten crazier as the years have gone by. I mean, these days I usually wake up around like 6:15, and the news is already going. I mean, today, President Trump is on his way to North Dakota for an event. So I woke up and Trump was right then leaving the White House, and he spoke briefly to reporters before getting on the plane. So I make sure I'm keyed in so I can clip that and kind of share newsworthy moments. And especially in a week like this week where Congress is in session, I scan all the calendars to see what the big hearings are going to be and try to kind of clear my calendar for that so I can clip the big moments from those. And sometimes there are as many as 3 or 4 hearings going on simultaneously. So I'm, watching them on double speed and kind of flipping back and forth to make sure I catch everything as quickly as I can, because of course, in the clipping space now, it's become a lot more saturated. There's a lot more competition. And, some organizations have whole teams doing this, and it's just me on my socials. So I have to kind of prioritize how I, just use my time and what I'm focusing on. And then, of course, I do a newsletter as well, which is the main way I make money. And so I have to carve out time in the afternoon to either write the newsletter or edit it. So it really is kind of a 24/7 thing. And of course, I have 2 young kids. So, last night they had T-ball, and I try to be as present as I can, but JD Vance was on Fox News, so I had to step away and on my phone watch JD Vance and get some clips up on my socials from my phone. So that part of it it's really difficult for me to kind of compartmentalize and log off for any extended period of time, although I'm really going to try to do that this weekend for at least a couple days. So I do try to maintain some semblance of balance. And, as John can attest, part of that is going to Twins games. I like to, unplug and get to the ballpark or go to Timberwolves games. So I'm not maybe as obsessive as people might think in terms of politics doesn't totally consume me, but because of my line of work and the fact that with news clips, you really have to be prompt and timely, it is really difficult to log off. And that means that there are times where I'm trying to be with my family where I have to kind of step aside and pull out my phone and start clipping.
And I got to tell you, if you the bigger the game for the local team, the more likely it is, if Aaron Rupar attends, that their major news will break during said big game. I'm pretty sure during the Timberwolves game, that was when the second assassination attempt on Trump happened, right? While you were at the stadium, is that correct?
That's right. And when the first assassination attempt happened in Butler, PA, I was actually on my way to Earth, Wind, and Fire at the then XL Center with my mom. So that was kind of crazy as well, driving in the car and that news breaking. So it became kind of a meme, especially on Blue Sky, that whenever I announce that I'm taking an evening off, like the Secret Service should be alerted because crazy things are likely to happen. So yeah, I mean, that is part of, that is part of it too, that it's unusual for me to take a night off. And so the fact that a couple of them that I have taken off, crazy things that happen, it's not that correlation isn't always causation, but, people like to have fun with that.
At AT Rupar, if you don't follow him already, which you probably already do, he's got over 1 million followers on Twitter/X. How do you just have nonstop like Google alerts? Does someone like put a Aaron Rupar signal in the air like Batman, or how are you getting these? How are you aware of these things happening in real time? And are you ever late, quote unquote?
Yeah, so I do have a multi-viewer with one monitor that I use where I have like all of the different cable news channels, and then it has a variety of streams. So like for congressional hearings or, major podcasts. So whenever I'm sitting at my desk here in South Minneapolis, I have my eyes on just sort of what's going on in the world. And yes, there are times definitely, especially with Trump being as he is, where like, he'll call in the press pool to the Oval Office like on a moment's notice, for an event. And so there are many times where I'm like, picking up my kids or out exercising, and I'll see other accounts that I have alerts set for, start tweeting out Trump quotes, and I'm like, I'm kind of kicking myself. But that is just sort of a reality that you can't be at your computer 24/7. So, that's just kind of like a cost of doing business, that you're not always going to be available the moment something starts. But yeah, the multi-viewer is kind of my secret sauce a little bit, just because even if I'm not listening to everything, I sort of glance over every 30 seconds or so just to see. And usually, if Fox News or CNN is picking up, some sort of breaking news event, I notice that, and then I can kind of key in on that. So yeah, I mean, again, I try to be at my desk, kind of working hours, but there are times in the evening, especially if news is breaking or like on an election night, where I'm sitting here and trying to keep eyes on everything as best I can.
Aaron, just one final question for you, because I know you got a million things to do. I just want to ask, we're seeing a huge shift in the media landscape here. Why do you think people are gravitating towards individuals like yourself or other independent journalists as opposed to traditional media?
I think a part of it is just the hollowing out of traditional media, unfortunately. And, that's another thing that's a lot different from when I broke into this 15 years ago, is that it's just so hard to kind of break in terms of getting a job at like, the Star Tribune or the Pioneer Press or NPR. There's just a lot fewer of them, or even, local TV isn't quite what it was. So, I mean, just kind of by necessity, as these institutions are hollowed out, I think people are seeking out alternative voices and sources. And then, there's been a lot of pressure obviously placed on legacy outlets in recent years to kind of conform to certain narratives or, suppress certain areas of coverage. And so obviously people who are working independently don't feel those same pressures, and it maybe have more integrity in that way. And so I think it's kind of a combination of factors. But, we also now in the social media era that we're in, it's pretty easy to find, trusted voices that, you develop relationships with your audience over time. And so, I think the media landscape has just changed a lot, relative to where it was 15 years ago. And there's also the tools, there's platforms like Substack now that make it really, really easy to publish. And you see this in the sports realm too, where, there's guys like Matthew Coller who covers the Vikings, and he has a Substack newsletter that, if you're trying to do it 20 years ago, it would have been really, really hard. There would have been a lot more overhead in terms of building out your own site and things like that. But now, you can pretty much have that taken care of for you and just really focus on the content. So there's good and bad with it. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but there's a lot of people doing good work. And hopefully people kind of include me in that bucket. And I certainly think over the 5 years I've been independent, the newsletter has grown and grown. And that's been very validating that I've been able to go independent and do this. And, hopefully it's kind of a model that other people can find some inspiration in if they are interested in breaking into political journalism, because as we talked about, it's harder than ever to get to a spot where you're making a solid living these days if you're working for someone else.
I definitely put you in that bucket, Aaron. And listen, we've already taken, there's probably like 20 things have happened that you missed already in like the 13 minutes that we've been talking to you. So I'll let you get back to work, but I appreciate you giving us some time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Of course. Anytime, Aaron. That is Aaron Rupar, independent journalist, over 1 million followers on X. And he's one of us. He's doing all types of things constantly, all day, every day.
You had him on just so you get some breaking news about LeBron James joining the
I was hoping, right. You told me about it off the air that whenever he's not on his computer, that something is happening. So I was hoping to, kind of spur that along, and maybe some breaking news with LeBron James is happening. But it hasn't happened. But we still have you here, John Bonus. There's always something happening with the Twins.
I'm no LeBron. But
you're no LeBron, but you're close. A close second to LeBron James. John Bonus. We're talking to him about all things Twins coming up next.
His worst case scenario on the Fan.